When Leanne Battersby, Jane Danson, met charismatic Rowan Cunliffe, Amrise Cooper, on Coronation Street, she was very quickly involved in the organization that he represented, the Institute. Despite the misgivings of people like Toyah Georgia Taylor, who soon realized that the organization was effectively a cult, Leanne has been drawn further in. She was recently told that she could recruit others to the cause, and soon she had Amy Barlow, Elle Mulvaney, taking part too. But it's Amy's involvement that finally makes Leanne see the cult for what it is, after Amy took part in a so-called malware session that left her traumatized. Leanne still got this self-belief that the Institute is good for her. It's making her happy, Jane Danson told us. However, the malware session, which she found quite difficult, felt worse for Amy when was actually looking in on it. Watching Amy crumble and seeing that she's a little bit more vulnerable than Leanne anticipated was hard. Despite this, Leanne initially tries to focus on what she sees as the positives of the Institute, but the cracks are now starting to appear, as Jane explained. We start to see everything falling down around her. Her relationship with Nick, Ben Price, has become extremely strained. Her relationship with Rowan is not quite what it was. He's not quite as nice with her as he has been, and she's reacting differently to him than she has done previously. She's still holding on to the fact that the Institute is a good thing, but deep inside she knows that something's a bit off. Leanne makes some shocking discoveries when she tries to delete Amy's upload session, in which she talked about being raped and some of the drastic action she took in the aftermath from Rowan's laptop. Leanne thinks if she wipes it clean, then he's not got anything on Amy and her conscience is slightly clearer, Jane said. But by doing that, that's when she discovers the bigger picture and all the other things that are kept on Rowan's computer on her. It becomes a question of how's he going to worm his way out of this, given that she finds he has things on her too. There's huge suspense as Leanne discovers a folder marked Nick and Toyah. And viewers know she could be moments away from finding out that her partner and her sister have been having an affair. Jane teased what happens next. She's one click away from finding out everything, but Rowan's also on his way back into the room. One click could cause everything to come crashing down, but it's whether he gets to her first. With Leanne's discoveries on the laptops set to open her eyes as to how Rowan operates, Jane told us that the usually streetwise Leanne has been completely taken in by his promises. Leanne is such a strong character. She's so opinionated, so feisty and streetwise, that at first it was hard to believe that she would get sucked into this, she mused. But all the research that I've done proves that it does happen to these sorts of people who get the promise of something, and often nobody really tells you what that promise is. They just say it's going to be better and your life is going to be more enriched and feel positive, and all these things that have happened to you in the past fade away and you can go on a different path to happiness. Leanne craved that, but actually, there's nothing physically they can give to you to make all that better. It's just the idea of it. The idea of having a better life, and the Institute have brainwashed her into thinking that it's the suggestions they're making will help her have a better life. Whatever happens next, Jane is convinced that Leanne is going to be changed from her experiences. I would definitely say there's trouble ahead, because you can't go through all that and then just be okay, she said. There's got to be some scars from what she's been through. I imagine she'll feel a bit of a fool as well, because she's invested in a friendship that she thought was real, and that will obviously have some sort of psychological effect later. Back in June, Coronation Street fans bid farewell to Simon Barlow, Alex Bain, as the character left the show after more than 15 years. Alex Bain had played Simon since he was 6 years old, but at the age of 22, he decided the time was right to explore other opportunities. I felt very positive about it, but I am 22 now and maybe it is time to see what the future holds, he said when discussing his exit. It isn't just a job. You become part of a family, and I will always have those people in my life. They aren't just colleagues, they are friends. Obviously, anybody leaving feels sad about saying goodbye to people, but any sadness is a small part of it. Simon's exit storyline involved him going increasingly off the rails after his father, Peter, Chris Gascoigne, left Weatherfield to go and work on a boat following his own mental turmoil after killing Stephen Reed, Todd Boyce. Eventually, Simon decided to join his father. With Chris going, it felt like the obvious thing for Simon to follow his dad, Alex commented. Simon has been through so much, and he was lost without his dad around. Simon heading off on his adventures means I can have new ones of my own. Alex's latest adventure has recently been revealed, as he's been announced as playing the part of Dandini in the pantomime Cinderella, which will play for most of December at the King George's Hall in Blackburn. I'm so excited to announce that I will be in pantomime this year at the wonderful King George's Hall in my hometown of Blackburn, the actor posted on Instagram. Thanks to the amazing Sean Productions for the opportunity to get into the panto spirit again. He also added a shout-out to co-star Callum Arnott, who has previously had guest roles in Coronation Street on several occasions. At Callum Arnott 76, I can't believe we're back doing this again together after so long, Alex posted. In contrast to the spectacular, colorful pantomime, Alex's final Coronation Street scenes were low-key as Simon said goodbye to his loved ones in the street. It was incredibly emotional, which is understandable as it has been a huge part of my life, Alex said of filming those scenes. He also described what it was like joining the show as a 6-year-old. At that age, you don't realize the enormity of what it means to be joining one of the longest-running shows in the world and be part of the family that were in the first episode in 1960. Obviously, I came to appreciate that as I got older and also to have the privilege of working with some amazing actors. I remember my first scene with Anne Kirkbride Deirdre. She was so kind and helpful. She looked at me after the scene and said, "You will go far." That has always stayed with me.